guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Lorena. I do mommy lifestyle and beauty videos. Today I'm going to be showing you 3 different sensory activities that you can use for your toddlers. Most of these things you might have at home, and if not, they are not that expensive to get a hold of. So let's just jump right into it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe down below, give this video a big thumbs up, go ahead and follow me on Instagram where I actually do more of these things more regularly, and let's just get started. So the first one is going to be a dinosaur egg. So my son loves dinosaur eggs, like the egg specifically, like not the dinosaur. He's over the dinosaur. He likes the egg. Yeah, we visited Kualoa Ranch on Oahu. We live in Hawaii, and that's where the Jurassic films were filmed. And so they had a bunch of Jurassic Park merch basically in their store, and my brother-in-law and brother took him to go look at it, and like he got obsessed. So he loves dinosaur eggs, and I used to buy him the dinosaur eggs that he could like crack and dissolve and stuff, and then I figured that I could make my own. This is a much cheaper option, and it's more accessible because I can just make it myself with stuff that we have in our house. So first, what you're gonna need is Arm & Hammer baking soda, a medium bowl, some water. This is specifically 3 tablespoons, but I don't know if I'm going to use all 3 tablespoons. If you want to put a little dinosaur or a little animal in the egg, you can have that, or even just having nothing in there and having your child dissolve or crack this egg is like fun in itself. Food coloring if you want your egg to be any color other than white. Something to mix it with. And then I am actually going to try for the first time to use saran wrap to mold the egg, because usually I'll mold it and then it'll start like melting. Like, you know how when you mix water and baking soda, it's such a weird texture. Like if you grab it, it hardens, but if you like let it sit in your hand, it like softens and like melts everywhere. So I'm gonna try to use this today. So I'm gonna use half a pound of baking soda in my bowl. I'm gonna bring you guys down this way. I'm gonna do half a pound of baking soda in my bowl. And for this recipe, it makes only 1 egg. So if you want multiple eggs, just double or triple the recipe for however many you want to make. I'm gonna put this food coloring in my water instead of in the baking soda. You can basically put however much you want. And then I'm going to mix it. And when you pour the water into your baking soda, you're gonna put less water than you think you're gonna need, because it seems like it's still stiff, but when you put it in your hands, it like melts. I'm gonna see what it looks like with 3 tablespoons, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna pour it slowly and mix. See how it like hardens, but it like ends up melting after. It's kind of weird. Science, you know? I'm pretty sure that I will need more water. I would aim to get this at a like sand consistency where you can still like form it, but it's not liquidy. Okay, so I'm gonna put this saran wrap in my hand. I'm gonna try to like create a shell in my hand. I'm making a mess now. And then I'm gonna put my dinosaur inside. I'm just gonna use my hand now. So assembling this will take you 10 minutes, but it does need to dry. So that will take 12 to 24 hours depending on your humidity level where you live or in your house. And just try to be aware of where your dinosaur is. So I'm not gonna make this egg, I'm not gonna pinch it too much this way, because I know that the dinosaur is like not very tall, but it's really long, because I don't want the ends sticking out. Okay, this is way better than how I did it before. I'm gonna show you. I actually made one last night so I could show you what it looks like right now without having to wait 24 hours. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I'm just trying to pack it in without cracking it. And there is your dinosaur egg. So now I'm just gonna leave it on my counter to dry and wait 24 hours for it to harden. So when you're ready to present this activity to your child, I would suggest having a tray or a bin just so all of the materials stay in a confined area and they're not spilling over your table or on your carpet or whatever the case is. I always put a mat down for Noah and then put his tray on top of the mat. I usually take his clothes off just so I don't have to worry about that, but we actually bought him a smock recently, so he wears the smock as well. So I'll set up the activity for him. I'll have his egg, and then I'll have a small bowl of vinegar, just like regular white distilled vinegar, and a spoon or a dropper, and that way he can pour the vinegar on the egg, and when the vinegar mixes with or touches the baking soda, it has a chemical reaction and it starts fizzing, so that's really fun. And then it dissolves the baking soda, which then opens the egg, and the dinosaur or whatever animal you put inside of it gets exposed. I will show you what happens when you mix vinegar with baking soda. So I'm going to take some vinegar in my spoon. It bubbles. It bubbles and fizzes. And of course that was really quick and not a lot of exciting things happened just because it was a very small amount. But when you do it to your egg, it's very exciting for the kids, and because they don't pour the vinegar as quickly, the activity does last longer. Okay, so I made an egg last night so I can show you what it looks like today, but because I used too much water, it's not really done yet. It actually looks really bad. So it ends up flattening, and you can see the dinosaur being exposed right there. So because I used too much water, this is what happens. I think what I could do is actually sprinkle it with more baking soda and it'll harden again. So that is the dinosaur egg DIY sensory activity for your child. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so for this next activity, you are gonna need a pan, some waterproof or plastic animals, probably small ones, and then jello mix of your choice. I only have red, but usually when I do this activity, I use blue jello. So this one is super simple. You can have your child help you prepare the jello mix, or you can prepare it by yourself beforehand. I always let my son help me prepare it because he can help with the mixing and the pouring and all that kind of stuff. So I already prepared it. So it's here. I'm gonna pour it into my pan. I like to use clear pans because it's fun because you can see through it, but I need to buy a clear pan that's small like this because the only one I have is like a giant baking dish pan. So I have this, whatever, 9x9 pan. I'm just gonna pour the mix into here gently. Okay, so now you're just gonna have your jello mix in that pan. And then what I do is I'll get my animals. This is the sea animal bundle collection. And I'm just gonna gently place these things in here. Lots of them will go under the jello, and my son can, you know, find them. Some of them will stick out above the jello. Like the ones that can stand up, I'll just have them stand up, and sometimes their heads peek out of the jello, like that. And this one is a fun one because he can eat the jello. He can eat the jello and, you know, get some sensory experience in there because the texture of the jello is really funny. It's usually really cold because it comes out of the fridge. And then he can find the animals, and we even identify the animals that he finds. So now we have the animals submerged in the jello, and some of them I have standing up that are meant to stand up. And then I'm gonna put this in the fridge for however long the box says. I did the fast one, so hopefully this is done in 30 minutes, but usually it takes an hour to 3 hours to harden. And then he can play with this on a mat with his smock. Okay, for this next activity, we are gonna be using water beads. You're gonna have a bowl or a tray or a bucket. You're gonna need some water, a spoon to scoop, and some animals that are plastic or waterproof, what have you. They're from the same box that the other animals are from. Everything will be linked down below. So basically, you're just gonna put water beads in a bowl, in a bucket, whatever the case is. I make sure that there is more than enough water because these beads obviously absorb the water and expand. When the beads don't have enough water, it becomes really oddly shaped and it doesn't expand to its full potential. So I like to make sure that I have more than enough water when I'm making these water beads, because worst comes to worst, you can always just dump the water out when your beads have reached the size that you want them to. So I will put some water beads in the bowl, add the water. It takes an hour to 3 hours to get the beads to a size where the kids can play with it, or you can wait even longer if you want the beads to get really big. But just keep in mind that the bigger they get, the easy they are to like smash and crumble basically. So I feel like a 3 hour window is kind of the perfect amount of time, as long as it has enough water. I don't put the animals in until I present the activity to my child, because they don't need to be in there while it's soaking up the water. And then they can just use the spoon to scoop it. You can bring another empty bowl so they can scoop it from one bowl to the other. Whatever the case is, it's kind of like a free play. They can kind of do with this how they want to. So with the water beads, you can have your child help you in the beginning and pour the beads, pour the water, and also have a lesson in patience, because it does take a while for the beads to expand. Or you can do it yourself and present the activity when it's fully ready to be played with. But please, please, please supervise your children at all times with this activity, because they are small little beads and balls. They are choking hazards. It does say that if your child is under 3, they should not be playing with this. So if your child's under 3, either wait till they're older or make sure that they are supervised at all times, especially if they're helping you in the beginning stages when the beads are small, because if those are ingested, they obviously will expand in their body, and that's very dangerous. So just please be careful. Supervise your children at all times, even when they are playing with it. My son was putting it up against his face because it was cool and it felt nice, but I just told him these beads are not for our face, they are for our hands and to play with in our bowls with our spoons. I just didn't want them anywhere near his mouth, his ears, or his nose where they could get stuck. So those are my rules when playing with this. But it's very simple, it's very easy. These beads last a few days. You can even dry them out and reuse them again. But once you see any black dots or anything that might resemble mold or anything like that, just toss it. It's better to be safe than sorry with these things. So let's just get to assembling this sensory activity. Okay, so I'm gonna use some orange. I'm gonna take, it's probably like a tablespoon of orange. I'm gonna take some yellow, tablespoon of yellow, some green, another tablespoon, and I might take some blue actually. Okay, I'm gonna pour the water. I'm even gonna mix it a little bit so they're kind of like not clumped together anymore. But see how I gave it like way more than enough water? I will show you guys in a couple of hours what this amount of water looks like, because it looks like it's a ridiculous amount of water, but it really soaks a lot of it up. It's only been 30 minutes and I don't know if you can tell, but it's getting really crowded in there. So I am gonna have to add more water. Alrighty, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you recreate any of these sensory activities, don't forget to tag me on Instagram. I would love to see it. Please don't forget that their safety is the most important thing. Of course, we want them to learn and explore and all that kind of good stuff, but we want them to be safe first and foremost. So please make sure that you are supervising your children at all times. But that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in next week, Monday's video. Bye.